Still, it's not necessarily about achieving the very same character in every bottle, but having a different position every time you're brewing.
Right.
Because you're actually sensorically analyzing the end result and only releasing it if it's to your standards.
Sure.
And your standards are not necessarily a standardization of the sensoric end result,
right,
but rather a product that you're proud of in terms of the sensoric challenge in the positive sense that it gives to the consumer.
Right. I mean, in our case, it's even, let's say, it's easy, actually really easy to explain, because most of our beer/projects actually start to exist as a sensory profile already. Meaning, before we even make a certain style of beer or a new beer, we actually already know how it should taste like. Meaning, let's say we make a Gose, for instance. We actually have already the style in our heads, how it should be, right? The only way, let's say, the technical part is just how can we actually get there, right? And if we nail it, it's released. If it's not, we have to argue about it. If it's something that you can say, well, it's within the interpretation/freedom of the style, for instance, it's fine, right? And if there is something really off, you will never ever see the public.
In my experience, you seem to be, both of you brothers, very stubborn when it comes to what it means to be true to style.
Right.
I was in Hamburg. I had your creek. Your creek is 3 years old.
Right.
Your brewery is 3 years old.
Right.
Meaning you only released the creek when, for you could actually say it's a true to style creek.
Well, in this particular case, the base beer was actually brewed prior to 2015 in this particular case. So before we actually moved in to this premise in 2015, we were brewing at another brewery in Bern. And the base beer for this particular let's say product / spontaneously fermented beer was our very first spontaneous project, where we went full size back at the times, which was back in the days 200 liters.
Now it's
1,000, so 10 hecto, which again gives us more freedom and more space, more, let's say, ways to play. Plus it's also, let's say, basically a professional brewery obviously can't really survive with let's say a 2 hectare system or something. Well, you can't, but the prices are probably in a, let's say, premium luxury segment kind of. If you can't survive there, good for you. It's not my go-to. Again, but the base of this particular beer was brewed back in the days. It was also our very first barrel that we owned. We also basically moved this barrel to this brewery. It's our barrel A, so it's the oldest barrel we have. It's the most, let's say, sentimentally linked barrel that you own. Hence, it's the only barrel which has given or received a name, although it's a boring name, A. All other barrels only have a number, but that's like, from the historical perspective, it's the only / first beer barrel that we ever owned, which basically was christened to get or got a name.